It's a problem. What's up, everybody? I'm alive. There was a massive outpouring of concern, and mostly concern, and there wasn't. Nobody really noticed. It's fine. Not a big deal. But welcome back. How do you like my sweater? Don't stare at me. Sue's trying to throw me off over here, giving me the stare down. I don't appreciate the stare down.
You were just in bed for a week.
I was in bed for a week. That's what I'm saying.
It's relaxing, though.
I was not relaxing. I was sick. Stuff from here was coming out of there. Anyway, we're back. Crazy morning I've had this morning, actually. It's interesting how when you jump on opportunities that present themselves, not every time. In fact, most of the time you don't really get anything out of it. But having the habit of jumping on opportunities has a tendency to put you in positions so that when there is an opportunity to be had, you're right in the right place. And even sometimes it's not necessarily like a situation where it's immediately profitable. You know, it's not like I just found $1 million this morning. But having created a habit of helping people with no, like, not really asking for like money or a return or anything immediately, has just put me in a position to where I can take advantage of opportunities that I definitely wouldn't have had otherwise, and that, you know, nobody else is really going to be in a position to take advantage of. So it's kind of exciting. Hopefully your holiday was better than mine. The holiday itself actually was a lot of fun. We just did Thanksgiving here and had some good times. Made some good food. Let's turn this guy on. I'm just going to fill this one up. But I wanted to kind of go back to the story that we were telling before and talk about those early days leaving Infusionsoft the first time. Well, the last time, actually, if I'm being accurate. Because at that time, after I left Infusionsoft and moved up to Utah and I was working with Micah, it was kind of like the Wild West. It was like the early days of being an Infusionsoft consultant, because there weren't any Infusionsoft consultants at the time. We were kind of like the first. We were one of not very many consultants helping people use Infusionsoft at the time. And okay, this was a problem last time, and Wick is right there, so I want to shower him with coffee. It'd be a really bad situation. There were so few consultants back then, and the ICP program, which at the time was actually called the CMAC. I think it started out as the ICP program, ICC program, Infusionsoft Certified Consultant, and then it got changed to the CMAC program, Certified Marketing Automation Coach. You know, it's interesting. I've never, with the exception of the time that I was with Frank, I've never actually been certified by Infusionsoft. And it's always been interesting to me, the interactions I've had with other people who get certified, sort of like as a means to an end, and there's a level of accomplishment that's associated with being certified. And I personally, I've always found that interesting, not because, I mean, people can get certified, that's not that much of an issue, but from the standpoint of having the understanding means more on a practical level than having the piece of paper. It's like having a degree means something, but it doesn't mean that you're any good at what the piece of paper says you're good at, right? I know a lot of people that have degrees. I mean, I have a degree in Russian. I haven't gotten a single dollar of return on that particular degree. Not that I would take it back, because I actually found a lot of value in learning to write in college and a lot of the sort of intellectual exercises that I went through. while I was there, so it wasn't really that much about the degree itself. But the point, I think, is that I've always looked at certification as something that is approached by companies that offer the certification as a money-making endeavor, not as a training and improvement endeavor. And unfortunately, the byproduct of that is that a lot of the people that are certified either have money or think that that the certification itself is an investment. And unfortunately, because of the setup, because of the way that it actually is implemented, the way that it actually works, it's not. And that's not to, I'm not really trying to down talk people that are offering these certifications, because, you know, there is value. I mean, the Infusionsoft certification, there's value in being able to push campaigns and having a marketplace listing, kind of. There's value in being listed as a partner. But a lot of times you can get so focused on having the title and having the image you can add to your logo and adding, you know, the signature snippet and whatever it is, that you bypass and completely overstep what's really important, which is, the word I use is reps. But the idea is you have to have boots, you have to be on the ground. I wanted to say have boots on the ground, but that's that's the wrong metaphor. But you have to be on the ground, actually. Like, you get better, and your chops in any particular endeavor only get better by what you actually do, by doing it, by being engaged in the actual doing of it. I mean, it's like, you know, the people say all the time, you're only as good as your last at bat, right? So you can say, oh, I won. Like, I think about Luis Gonzalez, right? Now, I'm not a baseball fan, so all you baseball fans who do know his history and what happened after the 2004 World Series, forgive me. But I knew about Gonzo when he played for the Diamondbacks because I lived in Arizona, and that was the year they won the World Series. And I watched baseball one season, and it was that season because they were in the World Series. And Gonzo was a huge deal because he got a base hit at the right time to win the World Series for the Diamondbacks. And it was a big deal because they were such a new team, such a new franchise. I think they were only around for like 4 years, and they had a great team. Ended up winning, but I haven't heard from or seen, or I don't know anything about Luis Gonzalez since. Same thing with Randy Johnson. Randy Johnson went on to play, but from where I'm, from my perspective, I didn't see anything else that he had done except for that, you know, except for that series, because I wasn't really paying attention to it. And I think the same thing is true for businesses and for consultants and people in that space, because it's so easy to get caught up in the accolades and the acclaim and forget what's actually important, which is, what can you do? What are you actually capable of doing? You know what I mean? I made a video, I don't know, 6 months ago, talking about making a comparison to, like, fighters. Like, two fighters get in the ring and the bell rings, and then one of them says, it's fine, I'm going to beat this guy. And everyone's like, what? It's like, we don't need to fight. I know I'm going to beat him. And they're like, what are you talking about? And he says, no, I know I'm going to beat him. He's only fought twice. I've fought 10 times. What does that have to do with anything? He's like, well, on my record, I've only lost once, and he lost both of his fights, so I'm clearly going to win, so why are we even fighting? Like, the point isn't what you have done. The point is, what are you doing right now? What are you going to do next? And so, if anything, I think the point for today is, just as I reflect on all of that, as I reflect on, you know, the certification programs. Do you want Santa? Or the green one? Green. As I reflect on those certification programs and, like, just the people that I've talked to over the years, it's always, obviously I come at it from a different vantage point, but it's always been a little bit surprising to me. Definitely should have prepped. That's the hardest thing to get set up. It's always come as a bit of a surprise to me, the weight that people like the credit people give to the certification itself, right? As though being certified in and of itself gives them something. And the truth is, it's the same as having a college degree. It only gives you something if you know how to use it. Like the piece of paper is nothing. It's the way that you're going to end up using that. And like many people, you don't have to have a college degree to be successful in life, right? In the same way, you don't have to have a college. You don't have to be certified to be a good consultant. And in fact, certification, the company obviously, Infusionsoft, and I mean, Digital Marketer is another one that's got a certification, and HubSpot's got a certification, and I think PlusThis has a certification now. Those are not, like, the company, and everybody at the company knows this, those are not training mechanisms. That's not their function. Those certifications are not meant to provide somebody with training and make them into an expert, because that's a university, right? A university that if you really wanted to just teach people how to use the software, make them experts at it, then it wouldn't be like something you can just buy and go through in a week, and then now you're certified, right? It would take 3, 4, 5 years. It would take on-the-ground experience. It would take tests, being graded, real-world experience, internships, that kind of stuff, right? So a real education, in that sense, is bigger. And so the certification itself it's a revenue-generating opportunity for the business that's offering the certification. But then for the consultant, for the person that's actually getting certified, it's an opportunity to take advantage of whatever the transaction gives you. So in the case of Infusionsoft, it gives you the ability to push campaigns. In the case of Digital Marketer, and I'm not sure because I've never been certified by them, but I believe it gives you access to their campaign library, the machine or whatever it's called. So that there's all this stuff there. But I think the important thing is, the point that I'm trying to make is, don't confuse being an expert with being certified. Like, don't confuse having a degree with knowing something about that field. Because I mean, if anybody who's seen Good Will Hunting knows that you don't need to be in college to have you could save yourself $150,000 in student loans and just go to the public library and get all the same information. Same thing's true now. Being certified doesn't get you anything that a couple hours of Googling and really applying yourself won't get you, right? And so I think maybe the real point is not don't get certified. It's have a good understanding of what certification actually is, and then take action based on that. But then get good at Googling. Get good at figuring things out. Because you have two choices. You can either only do what it is that you want to do and stay in your lane and be very good at staying in your lane and be very disciplined, or you can figure everything out. Those are your choices. But it's not given to you. So like what I'm saying is going and buying a certification, that just reminds me of post-Soviet universities in Russia, where you can literally buy a degree from a university in Russia these days. Well, I don't know if it's still true, but when I was over there, you could. So anyway,